Hey everyone, in this video we'll discuss the fourth chapter, which is types of business organizations. Sole traders and partnerships are unincorporated businesses, which means they do not have a separate legal identity. Sole trader is a business wherein one person provides the permanent finance and in return has the full control over the business and gets all the profits. Let's go through the advantages and disadvantages of a sole trader business. An advantage is that it is very easy to set up as there are no legal formalities. Moreover, the owner has complete control over the business, so they can respond quickly to market changes and make quicker business decisions. The owner has close contact with his customers, so he can respond quickly to their personalized needs and demands. Moreover, the owner keeps all the profits, so there's an incentive to work hard. And finally, since the business does not have to give out personal business information, there is higher secrecy over financial affairs. A disadvantage is that the owner has unlimited liability. What this means is that if the business fails, then the owner's personal possessions and property would be taken to pay off the debts. This discourages new entrepreneurs to start businesses. It is also difficult to raise additional capital for expansion, as the sources of finance for a sole trader are often limited to the owner's savings, the business's profits, and small bank loans. Moreover, there is lack of continuity of a sole trader business, as it does not have a separate legal identity. So if the owner dies, the business ends too. Lastly, the owner is responsible for all aspects of the business, as he may not be able to hire specialists. For example, HR, marketing, and finance. Moving on to partnerships, which are business organizations formed by two or more people with shared capital investment and usually shared responsibilities. A partnership agreement is a written and legal document between business partners. It is not essential to have, but it's highly recommended. Now let's look at the advantages of being in a partnership. There are shared responsibilities, so each partner can specialize in different areas of business management. Also, it is less risky as compared to sole traders, as the business losses can be shared between the partners. Moreover, additional capital investment for expansion can be injected by each partner. Lastly, there's greater privacy and fewer legal formalities as compared to corporate organizations. However, a drawback is that the profits would have to be shared among the partners, so each partner would get a lesser percentage of the total profit. And there may be slowed decision making as compared to sole traders, as partners may disagree between business decisions, and consulting all the partners may take time. The other two disadvantages are the same as sole trader, that is lack of continuity in the case of death of one partner, and unlimited liability for all the owners. Now let's talk about incorporated businesses, which are companies that do have a separate legal identity from their owners. Private limited companies are incorporated, and they are small to medium-sized businesses that are owned by their shareholders, who are usually family members, and a private limited company cannot sell its shares to the general public. A benefit of having a private limited company is that the shareholders have limited liability, unlike unincorporated businesses like sole traders and partnerships. This means that even if the business fails, the owner's personal possessions and assets would not be sold off to pay the debts. Moreover, a private limited company has greater status over unincorporated businesses. There's also continuity even in the event of the death of a shareholder. And finally, a private limited company is able to raise additional capital through sale of shares to family, friends, and employees. However, the drawback is that they cannot sell shares to the general public which is a drawback as compared to public limited companies that we'll look at later. Moreover, there are legal formalities involved in establishing the business. And finally, the accounts of the business are less secret as compared to sole traders and partnerships, as the end of year accounts must be sent for public inspection. Now let's look at a couple key terms related to limited liability companies. Memorandum of Association is a legal document prepared during the formation and registration process of a limited liability company, and it states the name of the company, the address of the head office through which it can be contacted, the amount of share capital for which it seeks authorization, and the declared aims of the business. Articles of Association. This covers the internal workings and control of the business. For example, the names of the directors and the procedures to be followed at meetings will be detailed. An annual general meeting is a requirement for all companies, and shareholders may attend an annual general meeting to vote on who they want for to be on the board of directors for the coming year. Dividends are payments made to shareholders from the profits of a company as a return on their investment. Now let's look at another kind of incorporated business, which is a public limited company. These are often large businesses that have the legal right to sell shares to the general public. The share prices are quoted on the National Stock Exchange. A benefit is that there is ease of buying and selling shares for shareholders. So this encourages investment in PLCs. Also, PLCs can raise very large sums of capital through sale of shares, as there's no limit to the number of shareholders that they can have. Two more advantages are the same as private limited companies, that are limited liability for all shareholders and continuity in the event of the death of a shareholder. However, a drawback is that there are legal formalities in the formation, and there are high costs of business consultants and financial advisors when creating such a company. Moreover, the original owners might actually lose control when the business goes public. And some public limited companies grow so large that they become difficult to manage and control due to internal or external diseconomies of scale. And lastly, there's a risk of takeover due to the availability of the shares on the National Stock Exchange. Now let's talk about another kind of business organization, that is a joint venture. This is where two or more businesses agree to work closely together for a particular project and create a separate business to do so. A benefit is that costs and risks of the new business venture are shared. Also, different companies may have different strengths and experiences which they can share in order to make better decisions. And lastly, when one joint venture firm is already located in the country, they can share local knowledge about the market and the industry. On the other hand, there may be disagreements on important decisions due to the clash of cultures and difference in the styles of management. And lastly, the profits would have to be shared if the joint venture is successful. Next, let's talk about franchisees, which are businesses that use the name, logo, and trading systems of an existing successful business. Benefits include a fewer chance of failure, as an established brand and product are being used. Advice and training is offered by the franchisor, which considerably reduces the costs and wastages. National advertising is also paid for by the franchisor. And finally, supplies and raw materials are taken from established and quality checked suppliers. However, a share of the profits or revenue need to be paid to the franchisor each year, and the initial franchise license fee can be highly expensive. Also, there are strict rules over pricing and layout of the outlet, which reduces control for the owner of their own business. All the business organizations that we just looked at are in the private sector. Now let's look at public sector organizations known as public corporations, which are owned and controlled by the government. They have mainly social objectives rather than just profit objectives. And some industries are said to be so important that government ownership is thought to be essential. For example, defense, water supply, and electricity generation. Also, loss-making services might still be kept operating when the social benefit is great enough in order to secure jobs and not raise unemployment in the country. While on the other hand, there's a tendency towards inefficiency due to the lack of strict profit targets. Also, a disadvantage is that governments may interfere with business decisions for political reasons. For example, opening up a new branch in a particular area in order to increase popularity. Also, the lack of competition to public corporations may lead to a lack of incentive to increase consumer choice and increase efficiency. In the same way, public subsidies may lead to inefficiency, as the managers may think that even if the business makes a loss, the government will be there to support them. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.